Hey, what's going on, good people? Welcome back to the channel Ster-e-o-type. If you've been here before, if it's your first time checking us out, man, I'm gonna put the link in below so you can find my girl, Miss Kayla Ray, and our YouTube and our TikToks and yada yada yada. How you doing today, Miss Lady?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm making it. I'm making it. I'm maintaining.
Right. Sun was shining today, nice in these Dallas streets. So looking pretty good. Hopefully these next few days it'll be warming up.
Yeah, try to get some of that snow off the ground.
Yes.
We looking like New York and New Jersey out here. So
Unbelievable.
so we've been looking at some news feeds, and one of the things that's going on right now, or has been going on since Trump has been in office, is that he's been doing a lot of things that are questionable to a lot of people, and people it made us wonder, like, and other people, are they trying to erase Black history with the things that they're doing? And you said you've seen some of that as well, right?
I have, and it's unbelievable. Just all the way from here to the East Coast, the West Coast, all over the United States, and then some to Arlington Mall, museums, parks, and even as far as education. I do
Hmm.
believe that education is important for everyone to know the truth and everyone to know where it started. I mean, this DEI is really blowing up. It is a phenomenon, just how fast and rapidly it's growing. It's
Hmm.
supposed to be about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the way that things are going with him, I'm not seeing that.
Hmm. Well, one thing about the DEI that I found out is that they said the biggest recipient of DEI is actually white women. And that's what a lot of people that are complaining about that part don't realize. Like, Black people aren't the biggest recipients of that. So we're not even the most affected by that. But white women are considered the minority. You know what I mean? Not as bad as us, but they are a minority. But my question, the biggest question that I have for you and the listeners right now:
Mhm.
do you think Trump is racist? Your honest
Yes,
opinion. You think he's
yes,
racist?
of course, I do. I do believe that just from what I'm seeing. I don't
Mhm,
watch a whole lot of news and
mhm,
television, and
mhm,
I'm not one of those politic fanatics,
mhm,
but I do believe, yes, there is some racism, especially his family coming from abroad. Like his
mhm,
parents were immigrants, his parents were not US citizens.
mhm,
So some things, some ideas, a lot of how he was taught, just
mhm,
things that when you're not born in the United States, you you inherit those beliefs.
mhm,
And he projects a lot of his home beliefs on us.
mhm,
So, yes, I do strongly agree he is racist. And even though he's partnered and collaborated with all the celebrities, Kanye to Snoop Dogg to Nelly to Chrisette Michelle and many others, yes, I do believe that he maybe has to poke the bear a little bit with the
mhm,
equal employment opportunity, so to
mhm,
speak,
mhm.
just making himself look good. But when it's all said and done, he doesn't like not even just Black people, but I feel like other races
Mhm,
with the ICE situation.
mhm.
That's his doing.
Right, right,
He
right.
generated that program. He escalated it. He added fuel to that fire with the ICE situation. And it's not doing anything but hurting us as a country. We are
Right.
supposed to be United States. And at this point, I don't see anything united about these states.
Well, we've never been united, honestly. Not, I mean, even as Black people, we can't even unite. I feel like if Black people were able to unite, we wouldn't be
Mhm.
in this position to begin with. Not only
Yeah.
that, I don't feel like slavery would have lasted 400 years if Black people were able to unite, because when they came up with a plan to escape, it was one of our own people that ran to Massa, and hey, they planning on escaping Massa. So
Mhm.
we didn't have unity 400 years ago. So that
Slavery still
alone,
exists. It's still
Exactly.
here. It hasn't gone. I mean, sometimes I believe that working a job, punching master's clock, clocking in and out, it's just like Kanye said, and people don't want to agree. It is a form of
Hmm.
slavery. It is a form of keeping us down, like keeping our mindset in a slavery mentality.
Hmm. And then incarceration itself is actually slavery. That's legal slavery, because we're the highest when it comes to that, being incarcerated. Not to misquote the exact percentages, but I remember when this was like back in the 90s. I think it was Larry Hoover that said that we're like what 30% of this country citizens, but we're 70% of the prison population. Numbers could be off, but basically that's what he said. Like we
Yeah.
have greater numbers incarcerated, and yeah, that's legal slavery.
Yeah.
And so now I don't know, man. To be honest, I'm still I reserve. I think everybody, every black man, every white man would possibly maybe have a little racism in them, like or maybe he's pro-white. Is there a difference between him being pro-white or being racist? I mean, because I feel like
Mm,
as a black man, I'm pro-black, but I don't have a problem like I guess date. I don't feel like dating outside your race. Like, is there a difference? Like, if you date a white woman, but then you don't like white men, is that those two different things? I don't know.
um, I believe that
Not saying I
there's a
don't like
little bit
white
of
men. I got
racism in
I,
everyone and all of us
exactly.
just because how we're conditioned, how we're
Hmm.
raised, what we
Hmm.
see. It may not even have anything to do with our specific situation as an individual, but it just may be something that we saw around us,
Hmm.
growing up or in the workplace or in our homes or with family and friends or loved ones. So I do believe there's a little bit of racism in everybody where it just is how you deal with it. It's like how you tolerate
Hmm.
it, what you do about it. Are you taking those steps? But I do believe a little bit of being pro this or pro black or pro white or whatever
It's like,
culture background you come from, you have
yeah.
every right to love and embrace your culture. So it doesn't
Hmm.
make you against another because you
Hmm.
choose to embrace your own.
Hmm.
So I don't think that I think that racism is taught because you see different children playing all the time on a
Hmm.
playground. There's a little
Hmm.
bit of every nationality on that playground. Those kids are just
Yeah.
playing. That's it.
Hmm.
They're not
Hmm.
talking about the things that adults are, or maybe children who are a little bit older. I'll say toddlers. When toddlers are out there on the playground, they're not conditioned so early a lot of times to think
Yeah.
about someone being another skin color or from a different place and you don't like them because of those reasons. The skin
Exactly.
color or your homeland, your ethnicity is different. Those things are taught.
Yeah. They don't care about that at that age. Yeah.
And if
It's,
we're
yeah.
supposed to be united country, like you said, it hasn't been united in any not in my lifetime. I don't know
Hmm.
about yours. We're around the same
Hmm.
age. Even neighborhoods, even just here in Dallas, there's neighborhoods that are still segregated to this day that just aren't willing to incorporate and love each other just because of one neighborhood may be a little bit uh poverty stricken or income challenge, and the other neighborhood may not have those challenges and be a little bit more wealthier. So
Hmm.
it's just I believe your environment has a lot to do with your thought process and how you view life and
And
what's racist and what's not.
and also the way you were brought up and who
Yeah.
raised you. Because you like again, you could be taught not to like black people or not to like white people. But I don't know. Maybe he's just pro white. But I could see how other people say that he's racist. I reserve my judgment yet. I haven't heard him come out and call throwing the N word. And I don't I
Mhm.
feel like Trump is an asshole, right? Just his nature is asshole. And I feel like he's like an asshole to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, he
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 has
he
no limitations, huh?
yeah, he doesn't put limits on it. So let me ask you, because right now with him being in office, like you mentioned, ICE, right? And a lot of people that Trump is deporting and doing all these other things to and harassing. They voted for Trump. So when you were voting, did you vote this past year or past election?
I keep that confidential. I'd rather not say.
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't.
I
But
okay, well, if you say I didn't either, I didn't want to go there, but
I mean,
no, I
I'm
didn't.
just gonna keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Because
I didn't.
honestly, I have certain things that I feel about the vote. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know if the vote really counts. To be honest
I
with
just
you,
felt like, and I'm with you, I felt like my vote wouldn't have been a fair vote had I voted
yeah.
because I didn't have enough information on the candidates. And
Hmm.
I worked in the elections for many
Hmm.
years, over 10 years. I worked in elections. And the things that I saw, even with the local elections here in Dallas, that changed my view on voting. And I get people are going to be like, oh, you should vote. Your ancestors, they, cried blood, sweat, and tears, and you should have voted. And I just don't feel like my vote would have been a fair vote. So I skipped this one. I sat this one out.
Well, I definitely feel like that they have enough. They have the system rigged, and they can make it go whichever way they want it to go. And truth be told, to be honest, had I voted, I would have voted for Trump. So, so like a lot of people that are being affected right now that are saying like, "Damn, I voted for this, MF, and this is what he doing to
Mhm.
me." So I was pro Trump because again, I just don't fall for a lot of the. They keep making us fall for the same thing over and over again. Like, how many
Mhm.
times can you fall for it? But a lot of people are still asleep at the wheel and letting somebody else come along. I mean, look at all the stuff the Democrats did to try to get your votes. When have y'all started putting on concerts? Cardi B, Megan the Stallion. You know what I mean? Like this is the president elect. Throwing these Ti and Snoop and whoever else, and I just didn't fall for it. They were trying too hard to make us go for this. It's like they were playing in the black face, and that's another thing. I feel like we keep falling for the blackface. Like when after Bush ran this country in the ground and they did in 9/11 and everything they did, after all that, they felt it was time to give it to a black man.
Mhm.
So they gave us Barack Obama. In my opinion, they gave us him.
Mhm.
Of course, we ran out in droves and voted because we voted for a black face. So, so what Biden was doing, he was using the same strategy. He like, oh, I'm gonna use a black vice president. That'll get him, and it worked because people ran out. So I just after living through Biden for that 4 years, I did not want to do 4 more years of Democrat.
Right. And I do
So
honestly believe, just from what I saw again firsthand, I worked for the elections, Dallas County, for many years. And I honestly can say that candidates are selected, not
oh
elected.
yeah, for sure, for
I mean,
sure.
just remember when Trump's first run in office, what happened with all those votes in Florida. Do you
Hmm.
remember that?
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
I mean, I just think it's the same thing everywhere with the votes, with the ballots, with the provisional ballots, with the absentee ballots, the people who are in the military, the people who move. Like, if you move and you don't early vote, well, you have to
Hmm.
go back to your original uh,
State.
location.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, your location or your precinct. You have to go back to your
Hmm.
precinct to
To vote.
vote. If not, your
Hmm.
vote doesn't count. Like, it's provisional, but what does provisional mean? Like, everybody
Hmm.
just needs to Google provisional voting and you can come up with your own interpretation of what it means. So, that's another thing I don't think people understand really when they vote. And I just think a lot of those ballots that get cast, if you don't make early voting because you're not in the precinct that you live in or the zone, and if your
Hmm.
zone changes, then, like, what are you voting for? You didn't make early voting. You waited to the last minute.
Hmm.
You didn't update the system that you moved. So your vote's not going to count anyway.
Right, right, right. So it was definitely for me. It was like the worst of the two. Is it the worst of the two evils or the best of the two evils? It was like, you know what I mean. It was like that for
Yeah.
me. It was like, so I'm like, well, I definitely don't want Democrats again, and I'm not crazy about Trump. Trump's a smart businessman, and being a business owner, my business was impacted heavily by Biden being in office. And when Trump was in office that first 4 years, my business did great. So my whole thinking was from that standpoint, okay, if he's back in office, my business will thrive again. And but I
Mhm.
was like, you know what? But I'm not gonna vote. I'm gonna let the chips land where they may, and I'll just have to deal with however it turns out.
Yeah.
But
I just
back
think
to
education rules the nation. You got to educate yourself. Everybody's going to have their own beliefs or
mhm,
interpretations of what they feel like is going on right at their front door. I mean, we live in Texas. Texas
mhm,
is already known for so much negativity. It's like it's our job to be out here, be local, put our voice out there,
mhm.
and just educate others and then get feedback. Everybody's not going to agree with what we say, and I'm okay with that. You don't have to agree with
Never.
what I say, but
Yeah.
this is the forefront. This is the platform that we're on. So it's like, hey, get
Because
on or get
everybody,
off.
yeah, because everybody has an opinion, and it's all about just respect the next person's opinion. But everything
Yeah.
in this country is about division, which is why there's Republican and there's Democrat, there's black, there's white, there's the police, then there's criminals. So everything is divided. There's nothing in this country where we have unity, and that's why the powers that be, that I honestly feel like there's one side controlling both sides. It's like going to the store and buying a Coke versus a Sprite, and come to find out they're both owned by the same company. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter which one you buy, the money is
Mhm.
still going into the same pocket.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but as far as what we stated starting out, um, Black history is in danger, and a lot of people are saying that because the things that Trump is doing again, like um, they removed a bunch of Confederate monuments and statues and things like that from public
From
buildings.
museums, schools, parks, just
Hmm.
everywhere. A lot of different locations they've been removed. But like, teach us the facts, teach us the history, whether it was someone who was profiting off of Black people and what we were doing, or Native Americans, or someone who was actually doing the work. Just keep the truth in history. It's not
But
really about removing the
mhm,
statues and the monuments. It's just about
exactly,
the truth. And that's what's important.
exactly,
There's fact and then there's opinion. So I'm all for facts.
yeah.
I'm all
And
for
see,
fact. I vote facts.
and see, I didn't really honestly, I didn't feel no type of way when they removed them. You know what I mean? Because I was
Mhm.
like, that doesn't change anything. That doesn't
Right.
change my Thursday morning or my Friday morning getting up going to work. It doesn't change my paycheck or whatever. But they did all that before Trump got in office. So since he's been back in office, he restored a lot of the Confederate monuments, which kind of reversed the whole thing of why they removed them, because they felt like it was honestly, I felt like when they removed them, I was like, well, that's kind of erasing history. Like if you remove them, it's like it's not there any
Out of
longer. So
sight,
you
out of
can't,
mind.
yeah, out of sight, out of mind. You can't say
Mhm.
this is so and so, and he owned slaves and he did this. So removing them was like a bit of erasing it, if you ask me. But
Mhm.
but since he's been in office, he restored them. But then they turned around and removed a lot of websites that told you a lot about Black history,
I
like
saw that. I believe what the last count I checked was like 72 websites have been removed.
yeah,
That's a
about
lot.
about Black history. So
Yeah,
so,
that's a lot.
and this is the thing: you don't even teach Black history in schools. So you send your little Black kids to school to learn basically a made up history, because you still telling us that Christopher Columbus discovered America, and that's not true. And then you're still telling us that, well, I don't know if they're actually telling us, but the picture that you're still showing us of Jesus is a blue-eyed Jesus, and we know. So maybe Jesus wasn't black, but he definitely wasn't white. He was Hebrew. You know what I
I just
mean?
think a lot of what we learned, our grandparents, our parents, I just believe a lot of what everyone has learned has been generationally passed down.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just been passed down. The story has been told multiple times, and it gets commercialized, it gets
whitewash.
televised, it
It's been
gets
whitewashed.
publicly nominated for all these accolades. So it's like it's in our face so much, we don't know what to believe. A lot of people
Hmm.
are just so okay and cool with being on the bandwagon of whatever is presented in front of me is true, and I believe it's fact, like without doing any research. You don't have any knowledge of anything else because this is what has been presented in your forefront for so long. So I
Hmm.
think that's a lot of the reason too why people believe what they do, because that's what's taught to us, that's what's learned, it's learned behavior. and it's
and
hard
it's
to break old habits.
and it's passed down because if you think
Yeah, it
about
gets passed down
when
generationally.
we,
It does.
when we were little, I think it's my grandmother's mother. She actually, I remember her having a picture of that Jesus on her wall, and when we became adults, we find out that that's actually a picture that Michelangelo painted of his lover, quote
Mhm,
unquote, allegedly. Um,
mhm.
and they've given that to us as Jesus. But that's a whole nother topic. The whole religion
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, yeah, I feel like with him doing all that, or anybody doing that, that definitely erases our history. And I also feel like reparations. I feel like if he erases that, not that we'll ever get reparations, not in our lifetime. I think the best chance we had of reparations was a black president, and it wasn't important to him. So I think we lost that opportunity. And that's a whole nother topic. Having a
Yeah,
black
I feel
president
like
who.
creating our own lane, like you said, you're a business owner, you have a business mind. I believe that that helps. That helps put back into our community, helps people see representation. Like it is important for our children of color to see people in higher positions or
Hmm.
people who have a voice to help represent them,
Hmm.
so they don't just become so naive and, like we were saying, all the things that have been passed down, they don't become a victim of what's been passed down. Like they actually have people who are like them, represented them, same color, grew up with the same issues, whatever that was, or the good things. So it's just like
Hmm.
having that representation with these leaders, authoritative figures. It's important to people of color. It is.
Right. Right.
It's
And
very important to people of color to have someone that looks like you who has a voice.
hmm and then not only that, it's like, why is it always a black thing? Like, why? Like, they're not removing anything about the Holocaust. You know what I mean? Like, I always remember the Holocaust, but slavery was years before that, right? Way before that. Yet the Holocaust, I believe they had reparations years later. So there's a Holocaust we got to remember. They're not removing any of that, but they're removing slavery. I think slavery is the biggest black eye that this country has, and I feel like they're trying
Yeah,
to
and it's still
erase
going
that.
on. It's
Oh yeah,
still
yeah.
happening, just your mindset can be an enslaved mindset. The way you think, how you think about, oh, I have to punch the clock. Like we are conditioned to be employees
Hmm.
versus employers. We're conditioned to get the job, not create the
Right.
job. You
Yeah.
know, that's one thing about black people a lot of times. Oh, get a good job, go to school, go to college, get a good job. What about be a business owner, create your own lane? A
Hmm.
lot of people come over here from different countries, different places. They're able to get breaks on whatever it is and they create businesses. They
Hmm.
don't need Americans to help them be established and find income or sources of income or streams of income. Like they come over here with the business mind, business aspect.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, what are we doing? Like, what is going on with the American system? How we condition our children to have the mindset of creating their own business.
Well, we allow them to go to public schools where the public school is teaching them to be employers. Like
Yeah,
they're
it
not
starts
teaching
at
them.
home.
Yeah, I mean employees. They're not teaching them to
Yeah,
be employers. So definitely we're on the same page when it comes to that.
yeah,
Um, Again, it's always us. There's the Holocaust. There's what they did to the Indians. We've all the minority has always been on the wrong end of everything. You've never seen the white race be a victim of. They're victim of one another. Like they kill each other, but that's it. They've never been slaves. They've never been in the Holocaust. They've never been the Indians. They haven't been the Tuskegee Airmen. They haven't. They've always been dishing
yeah.
out. They've
They
all
haven't
they
been the same systemically challenged as we
yeah,
have, like
yeah.
challenges through the systems. I do
Hmm.
believe that it starts with schools, because if you look at the concept and the structure of schools, well, they're built the same as prisons.
Hmm.
They're enclosed, minimum to no windows.
Hmm.
Sit in your desk, be quiet, stand in a straight line.
Hmm.
You come in here at this time, you eat lunch at a certain time. Like, we're conditioning our children early, starting with school,
To go to prison.
to either go to prison or you get the job. There's a far few in between that are business owners. They create the jobs. Their parents pass down businesses to them. They run the businesses. That's great. But overall, I do believe with the American population as a whole, that we are conditioned to be employees of someone else. And that someone else is usually someone who has a business, and then they open up all these different franchises, all these different business opportunities, and they need people. And we look at it like, oh, they're paying good. Oh, this is a good job. I'll get this job. A job is
Hmm.
just over broke.
Right, right, right. And you definitely need to have a plan outside. And that's another thing too. Most people don't have a plan. That's as far as the plan went.
Mhm.
Graduate, get my
Yeah.
degree, I get this job here, and that's it. That's where the plan stops. There's no plan like, oh, I'm gonna do this for 5, 10 years, and then I'm gonna go
Mhm.
open me a business. You don't really get
Yeah.
that business mind. If you ever get it, you don't get it until 10 years later, 10, 15, 20 years later, when you realize this job not working. I can't keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get tired, you get burnt out, you work all these years, you get your retirement, your 401k, and then what's next? Unless
Okay.
you create your own lane, with the money that you make, and you pass down your wealth and you teach your children how to be a business owner and how to save money and how to, make sure that they're keeping up with what they're doing for themselves. And once they start families, then you can pass that down. But it's hard when so much is in your face about get a good job, get a job, and that's it. Because it's
Hmm.
hard for you to pass that information down to your family where they really listen. And it's like you said, you can have a plan all day, but it's just about executing that plan, taking those steps and making it work and put it into action, and just setting some short-term realistic goals. I think that's first and foremost.
And it takes a village. That's what people don't understand. It takes a village, and
We're
the
in
minor
numbers.
yeah, the minority communities, especially black, most of us come from broken homes. Like we come from not two-parent households. So not only is the mother and dad not there, but the grandmother and grandfather's not there as well.
Mhm.
So you already don't have a village. So it's just if you got that one person teaching you, that's all you got, and all they can teach you
Mhm.
is what they know. Like they can't teach you nothing they don't know. But I don't know, man. What I don't know what his end goal is. It does look like if he continues to do this, then they are gonna try their best to erase Black history. But
Well,
not.
while he's in office, everyone just needs to work hard and stand up, have a voice, put it on the table what we want as an American citizen, American country. This is North America. I mean, you have other continents, you have other countries. People are coming over here from everywhere every single day. People are moving to the United States. They're moving to
Mhm.
America. I mean, just Texas alone, statistically, I believe about 10,000 people a day move to the state of Texas.
I believe you
Yeah.
because
I
they
think it's a
throw
thousand. I think it's like 1,500 just for the city of Dallas. So
shit. They
it may be
throw
more than 10,000 now, but I know the city of Dallas a day. I was talking to some analysts at one time, probably like a year or two ago, and they were telling me like at that time it was almost 1,500 people that were moving to Dallas on a day basis alone.
we can't take that. We don't have no more room. The highways are
We
all
are full.
effed up. Yeah, I
We
mean it's
are
starting.
full.
Our highways look like California. It's crazy, but anyhow, that's kind of my 2 cents on that, man. Got
All
anything
right.
else
Well,
you
this
want
is
to add?
good. No, just everybody do your research, make the moves, take the time, listen, figure out what works for you, and just take it one day at a time. That's all we can do. Nothing, this country wasn't built overnight. It's not going to change overnight. And I do
And
feel like the leadership that we have in office right now, it's questionable on them leading or not. It's so many unanswered questions, and we'll never get the answers to them. But all we can do is the work.
and buy books, the hard copies,
Hard cover.
because
I was just about to say that the hard
yeah,
copy.
because that
Buy the
digital,
book.
yeah, they're gonna be able to control what you have. If you got a physical book in your hand, and you can teach your kids or show them, because they keep that up. Black history will be it'll be like a myth. It'll be like, well, I heard black people used to be slaves. Oh, that ain't true. If it was, it would be in a museum somewhere. No.
They're already
Mm-mm.
saying that. What you mean they will be? They're already saying that. People are already questioning slavery if it was real or not.
If it really happened, yeah. So, well, I appreciate you coming.
I
We have to
appreciate being here.
for sure. We
We'll
have to
have to
do it
do this
again.
again, get some viewers. Like, share,
Oh yeah,
subscribe.
sure. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll make sure I
Yeah.
tag you.
All right. Sounds good.
Talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.